Wait, what are you doing?
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the podcast that talks about anime, so you guys don't have to. I am... Oh yeah, I changed my name. I was almost going to say Hunter. Well, actually, I guess you can still call me Hunter. Whatever. I'm going by a different name, but you can still call me Hunter. And I'm with my host, Spirit Magic Helmet. We were spending the last 30 minutes, well, not really discussing, more like I'm trying to, I guess, help him accept what's going on, but I think I failed a third time.
There's a lot.
Well, wow, that was you fighting me back on it.
I'd give you an F minus.
Yeah, that's about right.
Or a G. I'd give you a G.
I feel even worse now. Thank you.
Or is that racist?
How was that?
Because I'd be like, "What up, G?"
You know, I do have the power to mute you on this podcast. This little button. Like, I could literally end all jokes. I have that power.
You do. Why don't you do it?
We live in a democracy.
The name of democracy, I see. Very democratic podcast.
I guess actually, I should have asked this before we went live, but okay, we might as well since we're already here. And I've been meaning to integrate more realistic things into the podcast at the very beginning because, well, I at least want to be, what's the word I'm looking for? I want this podcast to at least be current. I'm pretty sure you're aware of, you know, a certain orange man's ear getting shot. But as of yesterday, we have now been made well aware of that Biden is no longer going to be the candidate. And he's endorsing Kamala Harris. I guess as a quick little aside, I don't know if she's going to be able to... I hate even saying I don't know if she's going to be able to get there. Because, like, I mean, I'm going to vote for her regardless. I'm not sure how you feel about any of this. I'm just going to say my piece and then we can probably move on if you had nothing to say. I sure hope I'm wrong, because I'm really afraid of the outcome if I'm wrong. But a vote with your pen and paper, I hate actually using this as a way to do that, but I mean, I think we should, if you live in America and you know, November 4th, 2024 is coming up, or election day. I forget what election day is. It's not November 4th. That's the wrong day. I hate even saying this, but yeah, vote. You gotta make sure that at least we don't have another dictator in the White House. Just had to say that. Just wanted to say that. Anything? Not even a sarcastic remark about a racist in class.
You want me to say something racist?
No, what the heck? I mean, yeah, you don't have anything to say regarding races or just anything? Are we good?
I'm voting for Kamala. There were a few other candidates I would have rather had than Kamala Harris, but I'm voting for Kamala. Absolutely. There's no way I'm not voting for Kamala.
Okay, there you have it. 2 votes for Kamala. And, you know, vote, even if you don't support her, you know, you at least vote. Don't do it. Don't not vote.
No, if you don't support her, don't vote. Unless you're going to vote for her.
Wow, that just took a sharp turn in a comedic direction that I wasn't anticipating. Okay, moving on to the episode review, which is episode 149, Light Fades to Rain. I said this to you.
You're a Brazilian guy. You can't vote in the United States.
Well, I mean, if you were to move to America and become a United States citizen.
Well, yeah, if you move to America and become a United States citizen, we can talk, but as far as I know, you're in Brazil. You can't vote for anybody.
Back to the episode at hand. Light fades to rain. I said this yesterday to you in a Discord message. This was heavy. Even with like the discussion we had earlier about you and the Shigaraki body transformation, dysmorphia, whatever was going on there. Actually, speaking on that really quick, I definitely did say I had some note about that in general. This is just going to be, I guess, what I say in the podcast. This is not going to change your mind. I know it, but this is what they're saying is going on with his body. During the final war, Tomura possessed the ability to transform his left hand into a grotesque and heavily deformed clump of countless withering fingers that branch off one another and vary in size, which we all did see that, which was a result of the quirk singularity as his body was being forced to adapt to his vast amount of quirks.
So I guess including the ability to create something from nothing.
His arm isn't nothing.
Increases weight without increases weight and mass without increasing anything coming into his body.
Yeah, I don't even know why I bothered. Like, I guess this is a hill he's gonna die on. I guess I do.
There's no miracle in the Bible that exceeds the miracle of what he's doing with his body right now without using a quirk.
So I'm guessing you do not think the quirk singularity has anything to do with this, or if it is, it's a dumb reason. I'm guessing is what you think.
It's a dumb reason. It's dumb.
Even if the quirk singularity was brought up much earlier than this wasn't just a random thing. This was an actual theory in the show that they brought up much earlier on. Like this was seeded.
This situation was salvageable. They could have said that not every quirk was able to be blocked by the two of them because he had so many quirks. They could have said that's pretty much it. They could have said that they weren't able to block every quirk and then give him a few quirks that he still has, and so he resorts to one of his less effective but like still powerful quirks of body part creation.
So you don't think his body just is doing this because it has too much power within it?
The power is muted right now.
So he's still got like things in him. You know, they're not gonna just disappear because they're been turned off.
They've been turned off though. They're not.
But they're still there. They're not gone. You know, it'd be different if like you're saying Eraser's ability literally ripped you of your abilities. I mean, Valley freaking overpowered, but still, like Eraser just mutes them a little bit. You know, he doesn't get rid of them. They're still there. Like, they're there. It's not like they're gone. I could see if they were gone for the reason, like, when he was looking at you, they just disappeared flat out. They weren't there. But no, they're still there. You just can't use them. But they're still physically present in his body. Yeah, I'm not winning him over at all. I can already hear it.
If anything, it should be harder for him to go on without his quirks right now. His body should not be like super evolving. Like it should be struggling to survive, and the quirks are helping him like survive with all those quirks in his body.
I don't get it. Did we learn that you die if you have more abilities? I guess that also fights against my whole idea of that. Never mind, whatever. I'm hurting myself trying to. I guess this is for people wanting to know. I am not playing a character, and he is not either. This is truly what I think. He thinks this ruins the show. I think there are so much worse things they could be doing. I think this is literally the bottom of what they could be doing right now. Like, to me, what's worse than this can easily be done. Like, he could suddenly just have superhuman strength on power, or even greater than All Might's, but he doesn't. But still, like that's the thing that I would think I would be more upset with power scaling wise. Like where did that suddenly come from? Then like, oh look, my body's trying to adapt to the amount of power I got. My body better find a way to use cell division to be able to survive all this. I guess on the topic of his body, last episode kind of ended on a cliffhanger, kind of, with Bakugo having his arm.
I didn't say it ruined the show for me. I said it's annoying. It didn't. The show's not ruined for me. I'm still enjoying it.
I don't know, the way you kind of like rip into this part of Shigaraki's, I guess, abilities right now, like make it sound like it's ruining something on the show for you. I think you mentioned it ruins. I think it's like the physics of the show, which I didn't think the show really had too many physics to begin with. Considering that the power has completely changed that on a dime whenever it's humanly possible. I just think there's like his whole body transformation thing. I feel like it's not as bad as like as you make it sound. Like it really isn't. Is it annoying because it's saving him? I mean, sure. I mean, if that's really what it goes, if it's annoying because it's very convenient. Most shows have something going on with that too. Is like where something's conveniently there, you know, for plot.
Yeah.
Like, is it the worst thing in the world? I don't think so. Especially since like a lot of the people watching the show who are I think are anime only viewers, they don't seem to be. They're more disgusted just by the way it looks than anything else, from what I can tell.
By the way it looks, how do you figure?
It's a club of fingers. What do you mean?
Oh yeah, it's gross.
Like more people are put off by the way it looks, like versus what it's doing. At least as far as I can tell from what I've been looking at, and I haven't heard anything else, even from the people who read the manga. I didn't hear anything about this. Well, no, the spoilers or the freaking want to make my way to Google. I just want to say this right now. Stop it with listening or looking for what I'm looking at, please. It's one thing. It's one thing if I seek it out. It's another thing. It's another thing when you bring it to my like doorstep. Stop it. Sorry, I just had to. Go. Hey, okay, nope, don't say that. If you don't hear from me after next week, you know what happens. Fight the power people. But I was saying something completely just lost train of thought. It was before the fight the power thing. I forgot what it was. I was trying to come off the Shigaraki arm thing. The episode begins pretty much Bakugo's arm, you know, kind of being crushed, and then suddenly Shigaraki kind of like takes a blow to well, what I thought he took a blow to, you know, Bakugo's ego. Apparently he didn't. Something later on made me think he did, because we see later on after he gets thrown out of the fight, after being saved by Lemillion, which actually we'll talk about that really quick. The big three this episode really freaking shined, and I will say I was very taken in by Lemillion's story when they explored it. But the one thing I will say that I kind of found a little bit, I guess at the time, like just like upsetting was like it's always the big three, but the other two never really get any real spotlight. I mean, yeah, Sun Eater kind of gets thrown in the spotlight a little bit earlier about how saying his power is really unique and really strong. But that's all they ever say about it. They don't really dive into it. And then like what's her name? Was that Hatsume? It's crap, I forgot her name.
Forgot her name too.
What? Shoot. What is her dang name? Okay, yeah, Hado, Nichiri Hado. They don't do anything for her. I mean, like I think the last thing we saw her do was like how she was with Froppy and Uraraka during their assignment all those like seasons ago. And she was just there, like, being peppy and whatever, and being overly excitable. But that was, like, the last thing they ever did. And I'd never understood why she was a part of the Big Three. Or, like, yeah, her power is cool, but she didn't really, at least as far as I could tell, she didn't really have much of a discernible personality or, like, what made her tick. This episode fixed quite a bit of those things I actually kind of had an issue with a little bit. Interestingly enough. Pretty much, we see a flashback a little bit a few minutes after they get like you know the entire like you know coffin is like kind of like rattled a little bit by the million arm march. Well, I mean million finger march. You see Lemillion saves them all, and you know, he's passing through. Apparently Million's only here to you know delay Shigaraki enough for Deku to get there in time. As we all find out that it's a failure. But as he's thinking about this plan, he's trying to figure out how he can like do some damage to Shigaraki. Spoiler alert, he does not. He brings up that like they're like out of the three of them, they're like the person that could probably do something to Shigaraki is Sun Eater. And I thought that was kind of interesting, but before, well, you know, as they're fighting, Nijiri is fighting like her hardest. So yeah, she is putting everything she can into like doing something to Shigaraki by, you know, expending all her energy. We kind of get a little bit of her backstory, and I will say it's kind of interesting they decided to pull her backstory here, but I guess it makes sense because it's really not just her backstory they were going into. It's like Sunita's motivations of who he was, or how she saw him, and also how Lemillion saw him. But it was kind of stereotypical, like, you know, she was all in everybody else's business trying to figure out what their quirks did, and because middle school kids are horrible, she is like getting bullied because she's too curious. I thought that was really freaking mean. And eventually just turns her jaded a little bit before she meets Sun Eater, which is kind of cool. When she first meets Sun Eater, like he awakens her curiosity again, and she just kind of returns back to her initial state of being back when she was in middle school, which I thought was kind of cute. You know, asking him all these questions and he just hiding his face because he can't look people in the eye.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of funny too. It was like, why is your thumb up? And he couldn't get, he got a part of his sentence, obviously. It was Mirio, and he couldn't get the final part of his final part of his sentence out, because she was always like asking questions one after another. But okay, like right there, it was like apparently at least Lumillion and Sunny had known each other for a while before they met her. You know, but like pretty much Sunny was like the reason why she was able to return back to her initial, like, you know, a way of living her life. You know, just being her, and she made friends with them. But then, like, I think what was really more important about this whole, I guess, little summarization of like her, you know, of her time in school, was the fact that, you know, not only did, you know, Lemillion believe in Sun Eater, she did too. Like, you know, she said both her and Lemillion know the true value behind Vast Hybrid, and I gotta say, no wonder it takes forever for him. It takes a long time for him to get that thing going. It's a giant cannon that uses a lot of quirks. A lot of animal parts at once.
It's very intricate.
Yeah, like I saw the cover art with this one, and I was very confused because I didn't know who the heck it was or what was going on when I saw this.
I was a little confused about how the big three got into the arena.
Well, they were Sun Eater and Nijiri were already there.
Inside the arena?
Yeah, they were already there. They were a part of the crew that was supposed to like help Deku take out Shigaraki. They were already there. And
Lemillion could slip in. Okay.
Sun Eater never takes the front stage. I mean, he's always in the background doing things. Lemillion? And Nijiri, yeah, she was already there. Like, I mean, those two were there. I don't know why Lemillion was not included in all that, but whatever. But yeah, he just slipped in, like he does, and Lemillion doing Lemillion things, trying to fight Shigaraki. Shigaraki just says like, "Wait a minute, I think I recognize you." And then I gotta say, this is probably the most insulting thing, and I had a clip back at Shigaraki for this. He just, I mean,
are you sure that they were already in the arena?
Yes. Why?
Because they stand outside of the they stand outside of the school building and say that our school's been wrecked. And
yeah, but that was on that school was on the platform. I think it was like a duplicate or something like that. It wasn't their actual school. I don't think it was.
Are you sure that was the school that they were standing in front of, and not like one on the ground?
Yeah, because like the only reason that they would have been in the rubble is because of Shigaraki, and Shigaraki had to have been there for that rubble to exist.
I don't see any shield in the background or anything. I see blue skies.
Well, I mean, I don't think the shield is supposed to be visible.
The shield is represented by like yellow energy, like normally.
Yeah, the animators forgot. I mean, I don't know, because like, I mean, there's a shot where like Shigaraki gets sent flying or gets hit by a blast, and the plasma beam doesn't seem to care, but they're still floating in midair. Like that plasma beam goes straight through Shigaraki, but it also goes like across the entire field and outside the barrier. I don't. I mean, I don't know if the show was just always active, or maybe the show doesn't care about light energy. I don't know. I guess I could look up where were they. Does Nijiri have a hero name? What is not really a stunt?
Thing about the building like that, if it was up in the sky in a copy, they were treating it like it was the real building. What are you doing?
I'm trying to see if I can't find like the list of people that was supposed to be in that coffin at first, just to see if their names were in there. I was almost certain they were there. Trying to find out anything I don't want. I'm just trying to look for like who was there. I don't know how you. I don't know how to type that into Google to find that. So I have to find that out by episode where they. That was it that.
Jules, what are you doing?
Just looking to see who was sent to sent to the area that Shigaraki was sent to. There he is. I mean, there's the UA school right there. You know, like, and Shigaraki's been sent here. You can see those clouds behind him too. Baga. Best Genus. Great. Okay, so. Yep, there they are. They're here. They were there before. For some reason, they were there. This is like this is the separation episode, the division episode, pretty much. We separated everybody. Hello?
Yes. Where is it? Are you? Did you pause on it?
Yeah, it's I'm streaming it. He's like 1604. Sorry.
What are we looking at? What am I looking at here?
This is the pretty much this is like when they first separated Shigaraki. This is everybody that was there, and they're here too.
Oh, I see. So it's just Lemillion that came in.
Yeah. And also,
Okay.
just to prove the location really quick, we see Shigaraki falling, and you can see the school. I really wish I could turn that off on podcasts, but thank you for the raid, Elazbar and Stella. You'll let the second ejection play out. I'm trying to find out where, like, the scene where you see Shigaraki falling at the school really quick.
What are you looking for now? I'm sorry.
No, I'm just trying to look for the scene where Shigaraki is falling and then UA school can be seen in the background. I saw that. Just to prove the location of everything.
I mean, I already believe you.
Okay, well I mean, this. What was I talking about over all this crap? Oh yeah, the vast hybrid cannon. That was ridiculous. It was even more ridiculous, like how much damage it was actually doing to the hands. I mean, I guess the hands really didn't have that much fidelity to them, so the fact that they're getting destroyed immediately was kind of cool, though. But Shigaraki could not do a dang thing about it. He was trying to form more hands and then more fingers, and he couldn't do anything to stop it. Unfortunately, once the direct when he got a direct hit, Lemillion was also seen in the blast doing a lariat to his neck. I didn't know he was there until on second watch. Let's return. Hold up, let me. And then we'll return to the episode at hand. So can you get a picture of the vast hybrid cannon? I at least want to have that. Yeah. This right here. The complexity at which that he was.
Weird thing. It's like almost like alive.
Well, I mean, it's animals that he's put together. He essentially, like, as a refresher, he can eat things. He can eat animals, and then apparently, I don't know what the word he would use, but he can, like, attach them to himself. He said Florida alligator, by the way. Somehow he got his hands on gator from America to eat.
I noticed that. There was a lot of things in there that didn't make any sense, like dragon fruit.
Like, maybe there's some mechanism inside that I mean, like again before, he's the one that knows his quirk better than anybody else.
Yeah, I think they threw a few nonsensical things in there just to be mysterious. And then he sticks a lobster claw up the thing's butt and it fires a plasma cannon.
I mean, it was eating Nidri's energy beams, so...
It looks like a creature out of, like, a Miyazaki film.
Mila, this is Japanese anime. It's so weird to hear Miyazaki, considering Miyazaki is the name of the guy who's behind the Souls games.
Behind the Souls games? What's the Souls games?
The series of games: Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, 3, Bloodborne, Demon Souls, Elden Ring. Those really hard games that people play. And the one I'm playing right now. They're not playing right now. And I won't be playing once this podcast is over. I just want to get that also out of the way too. temper expectations. But yeah, this is a freaky little thing. We have like we have him something here talking about like how everybody's giving him encouragement. And he mentions too is like, you know, it was just a lot easier to do self-deprecating than like accept everybody's like, I guess, good luck and whatnot, which I thought was kind of sad, but I guess kind of speaks to his character a little bit. So you said he sticks the lobster claw in the butt? I was trying to figure out where that he was sticking that thing. I guess it makes sense where he was sticking it.
If you think of that as an animal, that's where it is. That's where it's going.
That poor platypus.
A lobster claw would not be my first choice down there. That's all I'm saying.
The next thing I was going to say was going to ask, like, you have a choice, but I don't want to know this information, so we're just going to move on. But yeah, I wonder if I can get a still image of Lemillion in there, just, like, hitting Shigaraki. Oh, right there. Lemillion is literally in the blast and just comes in and hits Shigaraki in the face. Like a Lariat. Oh, I didn't... Huh?
I didn't understand what was happening there. It looked like Lemillion. Yeah,
Lemillion was in there, and apparently he came with a lariat, just like, or a punch to the face. He was in the blast. I don't know. I don't understand the physics behind how he was in the blast, and also able to touch Shigaraki, but he was doing it.
I couldn't figure it out. It looked like he was interfering or getting involved somehow, but I couldn't figure out.
I think it was a team attack. Basically, that's what it is. It's like Hado's energy. Vast Hybrid as like the main base, and then Lemillion was the ammo, I guess.
How would Lemillion not get hit by the plasma belt blast? He's got to become corporeal to hit him in the face.
Maybe he can make a part of his body corporeal just enough, and maybe the energy isn't as.
Hit him in the face, but not get hit by a plasma blast.
Well, I mean, he used energy earlier that Nijiri had, and it didn't hurt him then. Like when he first punched Shigaraki, he had the energy from her around his arm. I know this is a little bit different, but it's still, I mean, the energy blast technically is still her energy, because that's what fueled it.
Badass what Shigaraki says to him when he shoots the plasma blast, and he looks at him and says, "Petty tricks."
I mean, whatever it is, Lemillion just like he got in there and did some work, even though it didn't do anything, because like, there's a big like dust cloud, and then like they think they got him. Only for Shigaraki to say, do you think that would have worked on Golden Age All Might? Like, think about it. Think about it. I'm like, listen here, you want to be.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about Golden Age All Might right now. Why aren't you dead? Or hurt just a tiny bit.
Yeah, all that for a drop of blood.
Did he bleed?
No, he did not.
Okay, I was about to say, did I miss him bleeding? Everybody else is bleeding though.
The only 100% confirmed skin penetration that we've seen so far is when he injected the poison in him.
That's true. And a little bit of damage that Bakugo did to his face. Speaking of Bakugo,
yeah.
Just gonna really quick. I want to bring attention to something that I actually kind of misinterpreted when I first saw it, and only just realized what I saw after like my 4th time watching the fight. And yes, I watched the fight like 4 or 5 times.
Did you notice?
I'm gonna get to it first as it's happening. Yeah, Golden Age All Might. Wait, I forgot. Like there was a scene in which Bakugo is seen. Like you would think it was when Best Jeanist was trying to tend to his wound earlier when he got saved by Best Jeanist and Lemillion. There was a scene that it looked like Bakugo was crying, right?
He was definitely crying onto his hand.
No, but actually, if you actually interpret it this way, it wasn't him crying. And my proof is actually from his quirk evolution. When Bakugo is seen like blitzkrieging everywhere at light speed, during like the narrator's like explanation of like what was going on with Bakugo there, they never brings up the fact that how Bakugo's quirk, because we already know this. Bakugo's blows up nitro like substance in his hands because he sweats out right from his pores. But at this point, we've only known Bakugo was able to emit that stuff through his palms. But apparently, because of cluster and how cluster is working and it's kind of hardening the sweat glands on his hands, it has to find another way out. And he's been exploding it just all over his entire body. He wasn't crying. That was the substance making its way out of his eyes. And also, to prove this, when it's happening, when he's looking up and reading Shigaraki's moves, you see the light particles all around his body, right? Like they're just sparking everywhere. And there's a lot of it. It looks like he was crying, but that was just really the substance coming out of his body. It was just coming through his tear ducts.
The best genius at least thought he was crying.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like he was crying. I think that was the purpose.
He was like, you've done enough. You know what I mean? You did a good job. Like, he's talking to him like he's going to take him out of the fight. And show compassion to him. Yeah,
I know. I get all that. I think it was supposed to look like he was crying, but if you actually really take it actually meaning that was just that was just his it was just his quirk, I guess, evolving. I don't know if I want to use the word evolving here, but it was just the substance finding another way out because maybe his hands were just like tattered enough to the point where they weren't. It wasn't easy. He wasn't like he wasn't expiring enough, basically. Because it said that it was trying to find another way out, and it's found its way out to other holes in his body. This is what allowed him to be moving as quick as he is able to. But I want to say, I thought that was freaking cool. I just don't remember this too. I remember thinking that'd be kind of a cool way for Bakugo to like gain a quirk, like his quirk to evolve even further, is that maybe he just explodes the stuff all over his body. But I never realized that probably he wasn't sweating through any other pores but his hands, like that substance. It's kind of cool that he's saying that if it's finding another way out, and like the body needs to gets rid of it because he generates it anyway from sweating. I guess you could say he was crying the substance.
He gets it from sweating from his hands, right?
Yeah, it comes out of his hands normally when he's just moving around and sweating. He sweats that stuff out of the palms of his hands. Like apparently the sweat glands in his palm of his hands is where that stuff comes out normally. But because it said cluster had a really weird side effect that he didn't know about. But it sounds like, and I found this actual like his explanation. I think it explains a little bit better than me. Like basically, Bakugo explosions weren't just coming from his hands, since it's really hard on his on his sweat balls on his palms, but from his entire body, causing evolution within him. It's basically what happened there. I guess he just wasn't like he was generating so much while focusing on the battle, that his body needed to find another way to get rid of it a faster way. So his body was excreting it through other pores in his body. And since it's still just natural substance, he can explode it from his entire body basically, making him a human a human explosion. But that was freaking cool. Like that was cool. That was a creative way to have his quirk. I mean, his quirk isn't getting stronger. It was just like now his body has to find another way to get rid of it faster, because apparently he can't get rid of it fast enough. Like his body's generating it too much. He's generating too much, I guess, from sweating too much, that it's now just coming out all over his body now.
That's awkward.
I guess yes, it's awkward. I mean, I guess it's awkward for the ladies, but I mean,
imagine being all sweaty and like you have to try to have sex or something, and you just keep sweating this like napalm like fuel. You're like, honey, like make sure you take a good shower afterwards. You don't want any of that stuff near like any like sparks or open flames or anything like that. And then you got to get like rid of the sheets again because like they're all sweaty.
You done?
Do you want me to be done? I guess I can be done.
If you have more to say, go ahead and say it. I'm not gonna stop you.
No, just like I'm just saying, like it'd be very awkward for sex. Like no candles, like no candles for mood or anything like that allowed in the bedroom, just in case something flies off. You know what I mean? As you're thrusting back and forth, could get everybody killed. The whole room, hell, the whole room could blow up. You're sweating fast, and plus you're gross. I mean, you're really gross. You're clammy. You're covered in sweat. She tries to kiss you, and you're like dripping on her, and not in a good way. Okay, I'm done.
I'm sorry. I'm just over here laughing. Cause he's getting very graphic, and I just realized that the rating of this podcast went up.
Sorry about that part.
No, it's going anyway. I don't edit these things for so like I mean things that get said they stay in. Okay, with that visual out of the way, it's a cool visual that Bakugo pretty much. It was like when I remember when this happened. When he moved from one side of the battlefield to the next. I was like, how did he? What? And I was like, and he was just flying everywhere, and then like suddenly he was in front of Shigaraki. His palm was in front of Shigaraki's hand, and it just like palm explosion. I'm like, why the heck? When did he? I gotta say, for this is one thing I love about this show, the narrator. This guy has to be on top of every single like quirk change in the show. He has to explain everything. When something happens that doesn't get explained, he explains it. Like I wonder, where is he in universe if he's actually in universe? Like, is he like somewhere in the background? Like, is he just narrating this entire fight? Like, I gotta give credit. Like, I love that they do that with the narrator. Like, I mean, it's not necessary. You can just find out later. But like, I love that they explain that. They could have kept the like the change like mysterious until like later on. But like Bakugo does a little bit of like I guess seemingly damage. I guess he doesn't really do any damage to him. Like I mean, it kind of looks like Bakugo is like making some headway and maybe fighting Shigaraki, on with Shigaraki to get mad. Actually, speaking of Shigaraki getting mad, I guess I glossed over this much earlier in the fight with the Million. The Million kind of brings the like, why are you doing this? Why do you hate society so much? Like, I bet if you had friends, you would want to protect them. And then apparently this triggers little Shigaraki in his brain, and pretty much it gives out a response that only a little kid could give, which is like, I have friends. Like I have friends. I tell you, I'll show you. People think I'm really nice. And then apparently he gains his composure again. And apparently he realizes it's all for one being in control of his body, not Shigaraki at all. But I thought that was kind of interesting that we see, and it's kind of made me bring up. I wonder. It's kind of brought up an interesting question for me. Now it's like, okay, so we definitely know that at least Shigaraki that was in season 1 is still in there, and like as I thought, like at first as the show was going on, I thought maybe Shigaraki was growing as a person. I don't think he was. I think every single change that he was making in his character was all for One's doing, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
but
he's more getting buried by All for One than growing as a person.
Yeah, I noticed that with this episode when he had that outburst, I was like, that's a little kid. Wait, like so like Shigaraki isn't even in control of his body right now. But I thought that was interesting that he had that little outburst happen. It kind of makes you okay. Now I can see now I can see how Deku can reach him. If it's that easy to like get that part of his psyche mad, then Deku should have a really easy time trying to reach out to him. if there is any bit of him from that time that was good, he might be able to reach out to that part of him. It might be a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be.
It's a weakness. Emotionally, he has emotional weaknesses for sure, because Bakugo was able to get him flustered, and Lemillion was able to get his inner child that's like buried to come out and like get involved. So that's definitely the biggest weakness that he's got right there. And we've shown that he can be hurt because Bakugo was able to hurt him. But it's not much. If he gets rid of Aizawa, like, they're all screwed. I don't think Deku's going to be able to beat Shigaraki without Aizawa helping out.
I mean, we don't know that. We don't, like, I mean, All for One was made to fight One for All. So
I don't know. I don't even know how Deku's going to get into the cage.
I think they're just going to let him in.
Open a door and let him
maybe
in.
Maybe the shield's mostly to keep him in versus keeping things out.
It is. It's to keep Shigaraki
No,
in
but what I mean is, like, I think people can get in just easily. I think just getting out's going to be the hard thing. Like a one-way mirror kind of thing.
I don't know. It looks like a barrier made out of pure energy to me.
I mean, Lemillion can just phase out and phase Deku in.
Yeah, Lemillion might be able to help.
Speaking of Bakugo doing things, like, as he was doing this, having his... Like, I mean, this is probably too much praise, but at the same time, like, I consider what Bakugo did here making him, like, really a true candidate for, like a #1 hero. I mean, most of the heroes at the time was like, he wants, like, as I was like, get him out of there. He's supposed to be running for the next #1 hero. I'm like, geez, to get that kind of praise from Aizawa, that's kind of impressive. But like, I thought, like, this is like to me, like, it was like as an example, like, why he could possibly be #1, probably more #2, but like, I'm pretty sure this is like why he could be #1. It's like his Bakugo has shown throughout the entirety of the show that he's capable, he's intelligent. He might be prone to outbursts, but who isn't at that age? He's capable of learning. I mean, he was learning Shigaraki's moves as he was like sitting there trying to rest. I mean, it didn't really help him much because, like, you know, Shigaraki was like, "You think just learning my moves from before was going to help you here?" Unfortunately, it didn't, because he slams that gigantic, grotesque club finger on thing into him and sends him flying. And apparently, Best Genius, as he's reaching out to him, says that his heart stopped, and the episode ends there. And if that wasn't horrible enough,
it's a hell of a cliffhanger.
There's a hiatus, and it's not because they want to take a break. It's because the Olympics are happening, and I hate that so much. Not the Olympics, but the timing couldn't have been so much worse. And to make things even more irritating,
Did you see the preview?
I did see the preview. That makes things so much worse, because the preview has confirmed that Dabi's around.
Dabi's back, and then you see all the ashes falling off of All for One, and it looks like he's coming back as a human being.
People have been saying that he's reverting back to his prime. That ain't good.
No, that's not good at all. But it does look like all that stuff is crumbling off, and there's a real human being there.
You know what? I don't completely understand. If the whole idea is that Shigaraki isn't really controlling his body right now, and All for One's in control, who the heck is inside All for One's original body? Or is that still him? Because his conscience can't be in two places at once, can it?
It can be. It seems like it is. It seems like it's been in two places at once already.
But isn't the whole point of them being separated so he couldn't do that link? Because it seems like to me, and maybe I'm misreading Shigaraki here, but it seems like to me he isn't in control of his body. It's All For One, but then again, I guess All For One say he's merging with Shigaraki's personality. But right now, the little kid is the one fighting back.
Yeah.
Speaking of another thing too, I meant to say this earlier, but Bakugo fighting and it kind of like brought All For One's memory of like I guess it had to have been one of the previous people using All For One. No, One For All, using One For All before, because apparently he said why is Bakugo irritating me so much? And but then you see a flashback of like All For One like got his hand on the neck of somebody who I can only think is like one of the users of One For All back then, when he was fighting when he was younger, and he had pretty much like I guess it looked like he had won, but the guy was staring back at him. Apparently, Bakugo reminded him of that guy. Not sure what that's all about, but I'm saying it's kind of interesting memory that he decided to. Cause that's definitely Shigaraki's memory. Shigaraki wasn't around during that time period. That was All For One's memory.
Do
What?
What are they gonna do between Dabi, All For One, and Shigaraki? Like, they can't take any one of those three on, and they've got all three taking. They're taking all three on at the same time right now. Endeavor is gravely wounded. Earphone Jack is half lost to what gives her abilities. Bakugo might be dead. Like, most of the heroes are really wiped out. Todoroki is used up for, like, I don't think he's got any fight back in him left in him right now.
I don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to like. I don't want to count him out, considering that all he really did was just try to put out Dabi's flame. That didn't work. Like maybe he's got another move up his sleeve. I don't know.
It's gonna be pretty rough.
Cause that's really the only person over where Dabi is right now. It's Shoto. I mean, he's got to step up at that point. At this point, because he's the one that wanted to go and face his older brother. I mean, unless for some strange reason his family shows up. I don't know why they would show up or what they can do. And we don't even know if his other siblings have powers or not. It's assumed that they do, but I don't know.
I think they do.
But again, I don't know what they're capable of. Maybe they can help fortify Shoto's abilities. I don't know. Because I mean, like, my thought is like, okay, they only have the ice power variant. So, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think some. I think they have ice and fire powers. I don't think most of them have both. They're definitely not evenly balanced like Todoroki.
I personally only have ice because both their hair is white. The two siblings we don't, like the two siblings that aren't involved, and maybe the mother, but I don't know.
If All For One could have become a normal human, like normally formed human being again, why didn't he just do it earlier?
That's an interesting question. Apparently, I was watching one of those like one of those anime reaction channels. Some guy actually brought that exact question up. The salute like the answer they gave, it doesn't really it makes kind of sense. It's kind of like okay, so if he could bring himself back to like prime again, right? Like what does that mean for the crooks he's obtained since his incident with All Might? They say that he might just lose them all. Like if he like maybe he didn't want to do it. It was like a last ditch effort. If he didn't think he was gonna need to, but when Endeavor like overcame him so easily, he needed to at the last minute.
I guess so.
Like it was like, it's like one of those like, if I do this, I'm not gonna have my powers that I gathered all this time.
Plus, it's like
I'll probably have
like he
whatever
was
I had back then, but it won't be the powers that I got used to in present day.
I mean, that sounds as likely as any other explanation, but it doesn't sound like it doesn't strike me as like the definite answer.
I mean, why do you think he didn't?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense to like have him like all of a sudden be fully formed again. The only reason I can think of is that he's been trying deliberately taking himself out of the picture so that Shigaraki can make it without him. Like he was removing himself from the picture on purpose. To
No, that's not what's going on with him. He's been melding himself into Shigaraki's body. He's been wanting to take that guy's personality over. He has not given that up.
He criticized All For One for never leaving Deku. Like he said, what the problem? He criticized All For One. I'm sorry, One For All. All Might. Criticize All Might. Thank you. For never leaving Deku's side and saying like as if that was like something that was going to make Deku weaker. And then he left Shigaraki alone to like kind of come to his own. At which point Shigaraki did a lot of growth and strengthening and toughening up.
That really wasn't growth. That wasn't really his growth. That was all for one. Just molding him, making him go the direction that he wanted him to go. Right. Everything that All For One did was not really. He was never really telling the truth.
Leaving him seemed to be part of the formula for making him stronger. Shigaraki had to learn how to like make it on his own a lot more.
Yeah, but also All For One revealed that his plan was to take over his Shigaraki's body.
But when did he start taking over his body? Even though that was his plan all along.
It was like during like when he started giving him powers. I forgot what season that was. He'd been slowly taking over his mind for a while since then. Like I think that was ultimately his plan to begin with, and Shigaraki caught on to that. I think because I mean, like it kind of showed that Shigaraki didn't know this was going on until it started happening. Yes, but like when Shigaraki impaled Bakugo that one time, like forever ago at this point, and then Deku lost it, and like he started like Deku just started wailing on him like Shigaraki had lost consciousness and All For One took over. But then you see later on in that same fight, Shigaraki fighting for control again and didn't even know this was happening. All For One even mentioned there that like, this was his plan all along, was to like take another body over. Again, All For One wants immortality. He'll get it vicariously, whatever he has to do to get it. He even talked about like merging his personality with him, and he even mentions it here in this episode too. Like he thought he was well on his way of merging with them, but clearly he wasn't.
Yeah.
Like I think All For One from day one was trying to like find a vessel to fill with his mind essence.
I think he was planning on it, but I don't know when he actually started the procedure to do it. I think he started the procedure later in the game, like after his prison break, probably.
No, because he used Shigaraki to get out of prison. And Shigaraki wasn't doing that of his own free will. Again, I'm not saying that Shigaraki not like being on his own didn't help him or anything, or that wasn't part of his plan. But I think All For One, I don't think All For One planned on Shigaraki's like will to be as strong as it was, because he's been fighting for control over his body for a bit now. He's still fighting over control of it here.
Yeah.
I don't think, based on what it says, I don't think that whole, him criticizing All Might for like, coddling Deku or whatever. Like, I don't think All For One really believed that. I think he was just playing those mind games that he's famous for. I just think he realized that Deku was a sore spot for All Might.
Why do you believe that?
Considering how much, like, I mean, it seemed like how much like Deku meant to All Might, especially with him giving his power anyway. And on top of that, when he even mentions that he knew that Deku was the successor, All Might literally, I mean, it wasn't like All Might lost it, but it was kind of like All Might was shocked that he even knew. It's like one of those things. Like I'm pretty sure he knew that. You know, he probably wasn't as a sore spot as much as like his predecessor was for him, and like and then Shigaraki as well. But he I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure All for One knew how much Deku meant to him, even in like the smallest way. Like as like All Might was attempting to finish him off in that like that giant fight he had. Like when he mentions like Deku, like I know that he has one for all, and I'm gonna go after him next. Like All Might has that speech of like how he needs to teach Deku more before he ends up passing away, and he won't die here. Clearly, I mean, like I think All for One's was playing in overall game, but I'm pretty sure he was never intending to really truly leave Shigaraki. I mean, if I was All for One, I wouldn't leave Shigaraki either. I mean, I gave him a copy of my ability, and like he's gonna run off with it. Heck no, I'm gonna do everything I can to take control over his body, beat that free will out of him. Now, as for the point of whatever he's doing here with like his old body, I don't really know. I mean, even with me believing all that, him regenerating his old body doesn't really make too much sense. But maybe his consciousness is still in there, and he needs to he needs to get it out before he, I guess dumps his old body. I don't know.
Makes sense. I thought it was going to be so like poetically perfect for him to like die like fighting Endeavor, and then basically resurrect himself through Shigaraki, and like having that be his plan all along. And now if he creates a new body and like is like fresh and ready to go, but strong, except that he's stronger than ever, like it's going to be really annoying. There's got to be a downside to it, because it looks like he's stronger than ever, Dabi's stronger than ever, Shigaraki is completely unfazed and hasn't been slowed down a bit except for a little burn on his face.
Well, I mean,
a lot of burn on his face.
The bullet, though, I mean, it isn't really a power up. It's just more of reversing damage to his body and like it seems like it's gonna reverse him back to his prime. But like I don't know what ultimately his prime is. Because another thing too is, I mean, I kind of believe that maybe there's a downside. He loses all the abilities he collected that's in his body at that very moment, because when he was in his prime, he didn't have all those abilities, from what I can tell. I don't know what abilities he had when he was in his prime. But apparently whatever they were enough to give All Might trouble. And I suspect that's where they're gonna put him back. That's where they're gonna put him back, is when he was fighting All Might Prime. So I would honestly believe that maybe he didn't do that because he probably didn't think he was going to need to. Because again, All for One, let's be real. All for One may be intelligent and may be smart and may have plans out of plans, which is annoying as heck. He can get cocky. He can overestimate. He's done before. He's underestimated people. He's done it before. Yeah, he's always got a plan for that other plan in case something goes wrong, but I mean, this is just another one of those situations where he just planned. He thought in the chance that Endeavor did overpower him, he had a backup. Because again, he thought he was able to play mind games with Endeavor and then knock him to the ground and he was going to get back up. Fortunately, as he said before, Endeavor is persistent.
The whole thing with All for One, though, is that he has so much redundancy to his plans that it doesn't matter if one of them.
It's still playing out like that. I mean, it's still playing out like that. As I said before, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that basically,
the only plan that would really screw him over is if something happened to Shigaraki. Like if Shigaraki was killed.
I don't know. I feel like he's got another plan. I feel like, I mean, even if that were to happen, I'm pretty sure he has a third, well, second, really. Dabi was supposed to be one of them. But like, I'm pretty sure maybe Toga's one of them. So I don't know what he won't want the body of his schoolgirl, but I mean, who knows? The guy's creepy.
Yeah. I don't know. He might have a plan, but I don't think it'd be as good as Shigaraki.
But same thing. So far, nothing's really gone out of his way. I mean, he's had setbacks, but they're not truly setbacks. As I say, like that whole, I think that whole bullet thing was just a last ditch resort thing in case Endeavor overpowered him.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for him, Endeavor did overpower him because I mean, he goes out of his way to says like, "Man, you are persistent, and that's annoying." I think it's what he says. I know he says he's persistent. So it's like, you know, in Endeavor says, "Yeah, that's how I've always been my entire life." Basically, you know, I honestly, like Endeavor probably being persistent was probably the last thing on his list of things that was going to cause him a problem. So I'm pretty sure that's why he didn't use like the bullet. Like, you know, when it would have made more sense for him to use it earlier, he didn't think he was going to need to use it. I'm pretty sure his plan was to not use that. Meaning there is definitely a downside to him using that, but whatever that downside is, we won't know until like, the week after.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, normally we would, as we're ending this podcast, normally we would be, I guess, trying to figure what we're going to do next week. Funnily enough, the timing of this hiatus couldn't have been better. I think it's July 26th this week. Dragon Prince is making its return for its new season. We were intending to review it, I think, next week, right along with My Hero Academia. But well, My Hero's on a break, so I guess we'll be reviewing that solely next week. So
Nice. Let's start with it.
Look out for that. Ironically, that it fell on that was not even the plan. It was not anticipating that to happen. It's actually quite hilarious that you know, everything, you know, I guess landed pretty good. So yeah, we'll be reviewing Dragon Prince. I think it's season 5.
I don't know what season it is. Season 5. It sounds pretty close though.
Yeah, I'm just looking it up really quick. Season 6. We'll be back for episode 1, at the very least, of season 6 of Dragon Prince. I've forgotten like what was the last thing that happened. I think it was a pirate ship, wasn't it? I think they were on a pirate ship.